I'm not one of you anemic things that gets nutrition from a leaf of lettuce. I'm an artist. I love life and food, and I'm gonna have food, god damn it! And welcome back to another episode of Crips and Corks. I'm your host DJ, and I like food, along with my co-host,
Paul, your personal jukebox hero, as usual.
I always love how we go two totally different ways with that little introduction of ourselves.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seemed right for this episode, which we'll get into the topic later.
Yes, we will.
Mine just seemed right for this episode, though.
Yeah, it did. Even your outfit's good for this episode. I wasn't trying. I left in the middle of, like, a laundry cycle. I couldn't find the right pants. I threw a perfectly clean pair of jeans in the wash without realizing.
And you know what's funny about that, too? Is that I was like, yeah, you can come over early. Your early is on time. You still showed up at 2 o'clock when you said you were coming. You said, oh yeah, I'm just gonna like put on some clothes and get the wine and then I'll be there.
I also hit traffic.
Yeah. Do you say that every week though? I swear, every week you hit traffic.
Okay, think about where you live.
Yes, I know where I live.
There is always traffic.
Yeah.
And I didn't end up leaving early at all. I ended up leaving right on time.
Oh,
so
okay.
When I didn't say I was coming over early. I just said, okay, I just have to get dressed and go get wine. Okay. There was no, I'm going to be there early because I knew it might not happen.
I misunderstood. I thought that was like, oh yeah, Paul, like a jackrabbit will be there. You're welcome.
Yeah, no. I am trying to be better, though, about, like, leaving earlier so that I am here on time, even despite traffic, because I know being late really annoys you.
Being late is one of my biggest pet peeves, but it's more like lateness when it comes to, like, a job or a date or things like that. This is very fluid, so I try and, like, calm that part of myself and not be like, where the fuck is he? It's 2:02!
I know, and I try, and it's like sometimes I get really upset because I'm like sitting at the intersection outside, and it's like I'm 3 minutes early, which isn't enough, and then I'm like still sitting there at 2:01, like, are these cars ever gonna move? And then I can't find parking, and anyways.
Yeah. Blessing and curse of the week.
Blessing. We're going to see Wicked after our recording session today. I'm very excited. Paul is probably less excited.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be cool. We'll talk about Wicked during Pop Culture Corner, though, because that's what I was going to talk about for Pop Culture Corner.
Curse. It's going to be Thanksgiving this week.
Yes.
Which everything's so streamlined now, like, my family buys a pre-made turkey. It's pre-cooked. It's pre-sliced. So literally, my grandmother makes stuffing. I make mashed potatoes. We go halvesies on cooking a vegetable. We're like, I'll like do all the prep work and she does the actual cooking of it. So there's really not that much to do for it, which is nice. But also I'm like, oh shit. I'm just going to be, like, sitting around all day now. And I actually thought about going to see Wicked on Thursday morning, but I was like, nah, that's just going to fuck up my whole day because something's going to go wrong.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't like going to, like, different places on holidays like Thanksgiving and stuff because I feel bad for the workers.
Yeah.
Because I've been that worker. Like, when I used to work at McDonald's for my first job, I was that worker having to work McDonald's on fucking Thanksgiving. Miserable. So I don't like going to places like gas stations, whatever. Yeah. But other than that, it's like
So if I have to like get gas or something like go to Sheetz, I do try to be extra nice.
Right.
But yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Anyways, what's your blessing and curse?
Blessing and curse. I was actually going to talk about Thanksgiving as well. Blessing, get to see the family, but curse, like, gotta travel, gotta do time, and then, like, I have to go, like, 2 separate weekends because my brother's gonna be in Boston, so, like, I'm gonna go for actual Thanksgiving, and then I have to go the next weekend, so it's, like, 2 double trips, and it's just, like, that thing, like, when you're adults and you have, like, so many places to go, and, like, so-and-so has to go to this person's house, and then you get in a relationship, and you have to go to this person's house now, and blah, 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 and so-and-so's traveling, so it's
That's part of my curse, is that I'm also a child of divorce. It's like, and when there was more cooking to be done, I could, like, get out of going to some family, because it's like, like, I cook, like, I can't leave in the middle of the day. Right. And it's like, now I'm like, my dad goes over to his brother's, but my dad lives closer to me than his brother does. So I'm going to, like, call him and be like, hey, so for Thanksgiving, can I, like, come over at, like, 1 o'clock and we have coffee?
Right.
Rather than, like, me. Because also, I always tell my father to tell my uncle, like, I'm stopping over to see everyone, but I'm not having dinner. And he always forgets to tell my uncle. And I walk in, and my uncle gets that crazed look in his eye that people get when somebody uninvited shows up. And it's like, hey, I didn't know you were coming. I can squeeze another plate in. And it's like, I'm not actually here for dinner. I just came to say hello.
Yeah, I do the same thing with my grandparents' like house, because like, as you said, children of divorce. So not only do both of my parents both have dinners, but so do both of my grandparents. Because like usually families will combine, but mine just doesn't. Like 4 places to go in one day, and it's like, bitch. Really?
I mean, I already told, like, my grandparents, I live with my mother's parents, they don't necessarily get along with my father.
Right.
And so, like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts, but I've already told them, like, when you get old and you go in the retirement home and Thanksgiving is mine, I'm inviting my father and you're just going to have to play nice because I'm done going all over the place. And, like, me and my brother got shuffled up to so many places on holidays. I always joke that I had to marry an orphan because I couldn't fit another holiday in.
Exactly. That's what I worry about, too. How am I supposed to, if I eventually find someone, how am I supposed to go to their houses, too, on top of my family's houses?
Well, also being a child of divorce, and, like, I worry about marrying someone who's not a child of divorce. But, and being like, yeah, so, like, growing up, I just learned that you see certain... Like, you see one side of the family for this holiday, and you see another side of the family for this holiday, and you just gotta be okay with that.
Right.
Either that, or your family's gotta get really along with my family, who can barely keep it together.
Right.
And they're just all coming to our house.
And if you've made it this far through our Thanksgiving bitching...
Yeah.
You deserve a gold star. And let's move on.
If you want to feel like you're part of the conversation, pause here and just rant to us a little bit about what's going on in your Thanksgiving. And Paul and I are going to strike a pose like we look really interesting, so if you're watching this on YouTube, you can pretend like we actually are listening. Okay. Oh, Paul, do you have something for Pop Culture Corner?
Yeah, I did want to talk about Wicked, actually. You had brought up Wicked before. We are going to go see it. And surprisingly... people are saying that the newest Wicked is a flop.
I heard that, and it's... So I'm curious to see if it actually is.
Right.
Or I think, and this is the problem with musicals being turned into movies, is that when they get these huge pop and movie stars to star in them, people go just to see them.
Right.
And I think the first one, it's very magical and wonderful, and great. And I've seen Wicked multiple times on the stage, so I know what happens.
In the theater. If you will.
In the theater. But, so I know what's going to happen, and I think the story is very good with Act 1, really makes you forget that it's a story about the Wicked Witch of the West.
Mm-hmm.
Which is great, which is the point. But I think the problem is the second half really brings it back to the Wicked Witch of the... Like, Alpha Bib being the Wicked Witch of the West of Wizard of Oz lore.
Right.
So I wonder if it's... So I think people just didn't know what was going on, and they're just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. I will say, what this is giving for me is like... Well, actually, let me start here first.
Okay.
I want to know who Dorothy is. There was all this hype of... who was going to play Dorothy, and I'm hearing rumors it's actually Cynthia Erivo, like, playing Dorothy as well. So we'll see who Dorothy is, and I
don't think so, because we've only seen her legs and the back of her head thus far.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a white chick.
Yeah, I don't know.
And
I don't...
If they, I'm sorry, but if they put Cynthia Erivo in whiteface, I'm gonna be gagged.
That would be camp. That would be
camp.
so funny.
That's camp.
That would be
is
camp.
John Waters.
Mm-hmm.
Hairspray, Crybaby level camp. That is divine. That is John Travolta in a wig and a fat suit level camp.
That would be funny. But I haven't even seen any TikToks really any TikToks about the movie besides the Glenda glitter that they're putting over the food. I haven't seen any TikToks about the movie, and
I'm starting to see clips. And so I told my grandmother, I said, I think after I record with Paul, I want to go see Wicked.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you'd be in or not, so I just said I was going. And she looked offended because she wants to see it with me.
Oh.
And
well, fuck me. Go see it with her tonight then. I don't care.
Oh, she's not going tonight.
Oh.
But she looked really offended. And I was like, Nanny, I'm on social media. I'm already getting spoilers, and it's been out for 2 days.
I expected a lot more spoilers, honestly.
Every time I see something, it's swipe it away.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, I'm gonna get got, and I need to see it before I get got because I hate nothing more than a spoiler.
Yeah. And honestly, the lack of spoilers does add to it being a flop for me, because I expected my TikTok to just be flooded with wicked shit like it was the last movie. So it's giving are the people just not caring enough about it to post TikToks?
But it's also the first weekend.
Yeah.
And sometimes it does take time to make those.
Yeah, I mean, that's true too, yeah. I will also say that I do have this theory that sequels are never as good as the first movie. And that's just a thing that's reigned true for me.
That was one of my... So it's not technically a sequel. Well, I mean, it is. But it's one story. It was based on a book. It's like Harry Potter Deathly Hallows.
Yeah, I mean, so are the Hunger Games, and I would consider that. It's the
sequel.
same story, but it's a sequel. It's a different fucking movie.
That's true. But I don't know. And that was one of my concerns, because before the first one came out, I said, I don't understand how they can take a stage play, which I'm able to see in the total time I'm in the theater, 3 hours. From the time I go in and I get my ticket punched and I go to the bathroom and I find my seat and I sit and I flip through the playbill and then it starts and then there's a 15-minute intermission and I pee and then I go back and then it's act 2 and then I leave. How one half of that can be one movie?
I mean, they did it.
And they did it. And I did like the first one because I was like, oh, they probably added a bunch of really stupid shit. They did not. Everything they added to the story, I think. So I'm excited to see the second part and make my own judgment.
Yep, I'm excited to see it too. We'll see what happens and if it changes us for good, if you will.
Hopefully. Anything else, or shall we drink?
Let's drink. Let's get into it.
Today we're drinking Barefoot Bubbly. This is a Moscato Spumante.
Why did you look at the camera when you said that?
I don't know. It is slightly sweeter than Prosecco. Barefoot Moscato Spumante California Champagne is deliciously sweet with hints of apricot and tangerine aromas. Enjoy alone or with spicy cuisine and dessert. Cheers.
I feel like enjoying a barefoot wine alone is probably one of the saddest things you can do.
Oh no. The little tab came off.
That's rough.
That's what I get for buying one of the holiday wines. Although, for the holidays, the Wine and Spirits has some great selections. And I wish they had all these selections all year round. Really different stuff. You go in there and it's 15 kinds of Chardonnay and 15 kinds of red blend.
Yeah.
They've got all kinds of shit.
I was in there today and I didn't even really notice.
Well, we go to different Wines and Spirits.
That's true.
Okay, this is going to be a pop, and it's going to be a loud pop, so I'm not going to be near the microphone.
Jesus.
I'm sorry.
The way you put your lips on that was uncomfortable. The way you
go all over the place.
The way you just went down on that bottle like it was the last turkey sandwich at Thanksgiving dinner leftovers is crazy.
Did you want
the
it
way
to go
you
all over your
throated that
floor?
bitch?
I did not throat it. I could have deep throated it, but that probably would have made it worse.
Thank you for not putting our viewers through that.
You're welcome. I mean, I don't know.
Just an ASMR pour.
I'm gonna come back for you, don't worry.
I was about to say, bitch, what the fuck? I know it's bubbly. You won't remember all my champagne problems.
That's what I should have done with yours.
The lightest touch on the Chevy door. Something, something. I think I forgot these lyrics last time we drank champagne also.
That's a champagne problem.
I apologize to our listeners for my champagne problems. You're welcome.
Pourvu.
Sounds like the ocean.
I gotta put that up because I'm all wet now.
Cheers.
Cheers. I like that.
That's good.
I
She's
can actually
sweet.
taste the apricot and tangerine.
That's really good. For being a cheaper one, that's good.
Yeah, that was only $13.
Yeah, I'm gonna give that 4.5 grapes.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a full 5.
5. It's a home run.
That's a home run.
That's a good champagne. That's definitely a New Year's Eve champagne because New Year's Eve is coming up.
Yeah.
So that's a New Year's Eve champagne, girl. Have that touch your lips the first thing. Well, maybe. Well, like us, if you're us, it'll be the first thing to touch your lips in the new
Unless
year.
it's grapes again. All the grapes didn't work the last time.
Yeah. I imagine most of you probably have people to kiss on New Year's. So, like, do that. And we'll just do this.
Okay.
Well, enough about our sad lives.
Yeah, let me tell you a story.
Let's
I'm doing
get
something
into it.
different with the tech.
We're not doing the iPad.
Oh, I still have the tablet.
Okay.
But this has a lot of pictures, so I'm going to read the notes off my computer.
Okay.
And after I show you the first picture, I'm going to hand you the iPad, and I'm going to tell you when to change the pictures.
Awesome. Nothing gives podcasts like something with a bunch of pictures.
It's not a bunch. It's 8.
I'm sure the people in their car listening are going to be thrilled.
I'm going to describe them, too. I mean, I'm sure blind people listen to us.
What?
Blind people could listen to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I nearly said... Okay, yeah. For a second there, I was like, wait, blind is not being able to hear. That's deaf. Oh my god, I'm an idiot.
Anyway.
The Beatles. A name which ranks as one of the highest of the rock gods in the pantheon of music. Why are you pointing at yourself? Oh.
Rockstar.
The band which redefined popular music and ignited the hearts of millions of fans across the globe. Their names, John, Paul, George, and Ringo, immediately bring to mind catchy tunes and, of course, the famous Abbey Road Street Crossing. But what if I told you the band fell apart long before their 1970 breakup? What if I told you one of them died and it was covered up, only to be revealed in the band's later music? Today, we will be exploring rock and roll's grooviest conspiracy. Paul is dead. The Beatles' death cover-up and conspiracy.
Interesting. And I think it's so funny how their names are all like biblical names, except for Ringo. It's like all these normies and then Ringo.
So I had to look up Ringo, and because he's Ringo Starr, and I was like, is that his real name? No, his real name I think is Richard Starkey. And he changed it to Ringo Starr. Or like his stage name is Ringo Starr. Yeah.
So we're talking about Paul McCartney's dead, though.
Yes,
not me,
you.
unfortunately.
the other day, Paul texted me and was like, so what are you covering this week of the podcast? And I typed back, Paul is dead. And he went, okay then, fine.
Yes.
He was very salty and I had to go, LOL, Paul McCartney, the Beatles. It was a conspiracy.
Oh my god. Yeah. And I am very familiar with the Beatles because I did have a father who played that oldies rock all the time in the car.
Me too.
So I am very familiar with the Yellow Submarine, if you will.
We won't be talking about that.
Maybe Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
Nor that.
Well, damn.
Although I do like that song.
Yeah, well, that's...
While researching this, I listened to a lot of Beatles music. So let me tell you a little bit of the background. Now, I'm not going to tell you about the history of the Beatles prior to what's important for the story. I'm just going to operate under the assumption that, unlike Christianity, everyone knows who the Beatles are.
What?
You know how whenever I talk about Christianity, I like explain it, I'm not assuming everyone knows everything about Christianity. I am, however, assuming everyone knows who the Beatles are.
Yeah, everyone knows who the Beatles are for sure.
So, and I can't read my screen, so glasses gotta come on. So, the myth began on January 7th.
Wow, coming off strong, calling it a myth when we haven't even heard the evidence yet, deciding for us.
I didn't decide anything. I'm just saying the mythos, the canon. The canon?
The canon.
The canon.
And then you guys can decide for yourselves if it's a myth or not.
The canon began on January 7th, 1967, when it was reported that Beatle Paul McCartney was involved in a winter weather-related road accident on London's M1 motorway.
Okay.
However, due to the weather conditions, McCartney was at home and producer George Martin was able to refute the rumors after speaking with McCartney on the phone. The Beatles book, the official fan club's magazine, issued a full denial of the rumor later that year.
So they're denying the car crash?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there was no car crash.
Okay.
Rumors continued, however, in some circles of fans, with them theorizing that McCartney was dead and replaced by a double.
Ooh.
This rumor broke into the mainstream in late 1969 after an article in the Drake Times Delphic, the campus newspaper of Drake University in Des Moines, Iowa, released an article called "Is Beatle Paul McCartney Dead?"
I love how you called it Des Moines instead of Des Moines.
Des Moines. I was thinking so hard, how do I say this, that I ended up fucking it up.
Come on, Des Moines. I'm sure the people from Des Moines are going to jump you in the parking lot.
Des Moines. In it, editor Tim Harper cited the rumors which had been spreading across campus after students began to find clues in the form of Easter eggs within the band's music and album art. You thought I was pulling this out of my ass. I got evidence, baby!
Okay, it's giving Taylor Swift, like how everyone's always looking for like Easter eggs from Taylor in her music videos and stuff.
So this is where that started, like the Easter egg idea.
So I guess
and music.
I guess you could say Taylor Swift is the Beatles of the modern age.
Yeah, I actually made that joke to my grandmother because I asked my grandparents because they remember seeing the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, which was their introduction to American audiences.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. I know what you mean. Okay, yeah.
And so I was talking to them and I was like, isn't it wild that, like, you saw the Beatles, like, perform live on television, and by the time I was born, one of the Beatles was already dead, and by the time I was, like, old enough to realize who the Beatles were, two of them were dead. So I never knew the Beatles as a whole group live.
Right.
And like, just that difference in age, and I was like, and just think, when I have grandkids, they're going to be coming to me and being like, did you ever see Taylor Swift live? What was it like?
Let me tell you about the summer of 2022.
Let me tell you about the Eras Tour, when I got hemorrhoids from sitting for that 3-hour-long concert.
Well, we were standing, and I drunkenly was very, very turned during the last part of that concert.
Were you really?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I was
okay.
turned, girl. Me and my mom,
I
we were
didn't
pounding the tall boys. We were having a good
I
old
didn't
time.
actually go.
Girl, she was singing Mirror Ball. Bitch, I was seeing the Mirror Ball, okay?
So that was early October 1969. On October 12th of that year, an anonymous caller called into Russ Gibbs' radio show on Detroit's WKNR FM radio station and told him about the theory that McCartney was dead and the clues which proved it. Gibb proceeded to talk about the theory and other supposed clues for a further hour.
Oh.
So he got this random ass phone call, which led him to talk about it on the radio for an hour.
That's crazy, because usually radio phone calls, too, are, like, pretty quick when they're interviewing people, unless you're, like, a celebrity.
Hung up and he kept talking about it, like, oh, I see this and this and this.
Wait, who kept talking about it?
The, Russ Gibb, it was his radio show. So even when he didn't have the guy on the phone, he kept talking about it.
So Russ already knew before he talked to the guy?
No, not till then, but then he started putting the pieces together.
Like, live on air?
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy. He was, like, putting it all together live on air.
2 days later, Fred Labor, a University of Michigan student who heard the show, wrote a satirical review of the Beatles' recently released album Abbey Road titled McCartney Dead, New Evidence Brought to Light, and enumerated the clues he had found on album art released by the band. Within days, the article was picked up and reprinted in newspapers across the United States. WKNR further fueled the story with the release of a 2-hour program on the subject called The Beatle Plot.
The Beatle Plot. This just shows how far, like, conspiracy theories can go, and it just snowballs.
Right? Soon, the story was picked up.
Plot, bitch.
Wait, it gets crazy. Soon, the story was picked up by bigger radio stations, WMCA and WABC in the New York area. Due to fluke in technology, in the early hours of October 21st, WABC Roby Young discussed, not due to tech fluke, but in the early hours of October 21st, Roby Young discussed the rumor for over an hour before studio executives pulled him off the air. Due to a technology fluke, at that time of night, the radio station reached 38 states in the Union and even some other North American nations. So they're hearing about this in Canada and Mexico and, like, about Paul McCartney being dead.
Meanwhile, he's still alive, yeah. Like, alive. Quotes.
The Beatles attempted to refute the rumors, with members Ringo Starr and John Lennon both giving interviews denying that McCartney was dead. However, McCartney was in Scotland with his wife and 2 daughters, having retreated there in light of the group's impending disbandment.
Okay. So, okay.
At one point during the ongoing rumors, a Life magazine photographer snuck onto his property and McCartney, in a rage, threw a bucket of water on him and threatened to hit him. After cooling down, McCartney apologized and agreed to pose for a photo with his family and gave an interview in exchange for the roll of film with the pictures of him angry. This interview and the picture provided Life's cover story on Paul McCartney being alive, which this is where I hand you this.
Okay.
And you can see the title is Paul McCartney Paul is still with us.
Okay. So this is Paul and his family.
Yes, his wife and 2 daughters.
He's kind of ugly.
I don't know which one's Stella.
Probably the one with the beard.
Probably. On Halloween night, WKBW in Buffalo broadcast a program called Paul McCartney is Alive and Well. Maybe. Further analyzing the band's music and the supposed clues.
Okay. Let's hear this shit.
Within the month of October 1969, multiple artists released songs paying tribute to the supposedly late McCartney, including So Long Paul by Jose Feliciano of Feliz Navidad fame.
Okay. The guy who wrote Feliz Navidad. Okay. Period.
The Ballad of Paul by the Mystery Tour and St. Paul by Terry Knight, which became a minor hit the following spring.
Why were miners listening to it?
You gotta do something down in the mines.
Right.
Polydor Records capitalized on the rumor with their artwork for Very Together, a repackaging of the Beatles' early work which featured 4 black candles, 3 of them lit, and 1 stuffed out with a wisp of smoke. So if you press the button...
Wait, so who made this again?
A record company, I believe in Canada. They did a repackaging of their, like, unreleased music.
Oh.
Doesn't that look like a memorial?
Now, how many members of the Beatles are there?
4.
4, and then the one is snuffed out, and the snuffed out candle is supposed to be Paul. Who's supposedly dead.
Yes.
Okay.
So that is the background.
Okay.
Let's get into the premise of the conspiracy.
Okay.
On November 9th, or September 11th, maybe, 1966...
What do you mean, or September 11th?
I'm going to get into that later.
Okay. I was like, that's a big difference, bitch.
1966, Paul McCartney had an argument with his fellow bandmates during a recording session and angrily stormed out and drove away. While driving, he became distracted by a pretty meter maid. Do you know what a meter maid is?
Yeah, okay. They go collect the coins.
Yeah, that's like an old-fashioned term, so I wasn't sure. Or in some tellings, he picked up a pretty hitchhiker and missed the change in traffic lights and crashed and was decapitated. A secret private funeral was held before he was secretly buried in an unmarked grave. The 3 remaining Beatles teamed up with British intelligence service MI5 to replace the dead Paul with a stand-in to prevent mass suicides and to continue raking in the money.
Probably mainly the money, because do you think people really would have committed suicide?
Well, when Rudolph Valentino died, he was one of the first big movie stars.
Mm-hmm.
He died like 40 years before this. When it was announced he died, a bunch of people women did throw themselves out windows, apparently.
That's crazy. I hope people do that when I die.
I hope so too. I most certainly will not.
Oh, damn.
So, they tapped the winner of a Paul McCartney lookalike contest named William Campbell Shears, or simply Billy Shears. Gave him plastic surgery to turn him from a lookalike into fake Paul, or, as we shall be calling him, Fall.
Fall? And what do y'all know about fall?
I didn't make that up. That is an actual term from this conspiracy.
Jesus Christ. People are fucking stupid.
I told you, I'm doing this one for fun.
Mm-hmm.
However, the remaining Beatles soon became racked with guilt, mixed with their grief, and began to leave clues in their album artwork and music to tell the world, Paul is dead. All of this would be facilitated by the Beatles' recent decision to stop touring and a radically new look for the band. So if you go to the next picture, that is the Beatles' original look.
Okay. Bowl cuts.
Bowl cuts, suits, ties.
Honestly, they look like they could all be brothers.
Honestly. Now, click to the next slide, and that's their new look.
Oh, okay. So it's very, colorful and hippie, and they all got mustaches now. It's like they took shrooms.
Yes, and I keep referring to it into my notes as a psychedelic fever dream.
It is giving psychedelic fever dream for sure.
Now, finally, let's get into the evidence.
Okay.
Fans cited McCarthy's changing voice growing deeper and less nasal as one clue.
He was probably just smoking. Don't cigarettes do that shit to you?
He's also in his mid-20s.
Mm-hmm.
Which I know my voice changed around in my mid to late 20s as well, getting a little deeper.
Yeah, it was beautiful watching your voice go from sounding like a little girl to a middle-aged woman.
I know.
The journey of life is such a beautiful
All
thing.
those nights and Lucky's inhaling secondhand smoke really helped.
I know. Honestly, the level of secondhand smoke we probably get just from Lucky's is insane.
Actually, so we listened to with a friend yesterday. We re-listened to Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. And listening to my voice, I was like, oh my god, my voice has actually gotten deeper since this, and it's been 2 years.
We're hitting late in our 20s puberty, you're welcome.
Or menopause. They also noticed a scar on McCarthy's upper lip, which they believed was left over from the plastic surgery to make Fall look like Paul.
Period. You know? Give Fall all the surgery.
Now, for those of you Beatles fans, you'll really understand this next part. The band began to release songs supposedly telling the story of Paul's death and burial. He was distracted by the pretty girl, Lovely Rita.
Okay.
Missed the traffic light, A Day in the Life. Crashed and was decapitated, Don't Pass Me By. Especially the line, he blew his mind out in a car.
Okay, I mean, I could see it, I guess, yeah.
He was given a funeral with eulogies by George Harrison, Blue Jay Way, and Ringo Starr, Don't Pass Me By, and was buried with his bandmates in attendance, Strawberry Fields Forever. Specifically, a cryptic murmur made by Lennon at the end of the song, which fans believe is, I buried Paul.
Oh, are you going to play it for us?
I am going to play it for you all.
Okay, let's hear this. Let's hear. If it actually sounds like that, I'll be gagged.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my music all the way down until I get it up.
Okay.
So what are you thinking so far?
Honestly, so far, it's giving, like, the other conspiracies like this. It's giving, like, how they thought Avril Lavigne died, or how they thought Britney Spears died, and were replaced with a double, like... This is such a common, like, theory for famous people. It's just, like, another one.
But the Britney, the Avril, these all stem from this.
Oh,
so this was the first.
This is, like, the original.
This is the original one.
Okay.
And because it's been 60 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, next year will be 60 years from when they started.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more evidence here.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
So I'm going to play the last 30 seconds of Strawberry Fields Forever.
That does sound like I buried Paul. That sounds exactly like that.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. That literally sounds like I buried Paul. Now, the rest of the song, it sounds like it sucks. I don't know why people were liking that kind of music, because that sounded real bad.
So this was their acid era, where they were doing a lot of acid and writing music while on acid and then recording it on acid. And you're supposed to listen to it on acid.
It sounds like it, because that shit's
I did
bad.
say, because my father, like, he was a big Beatles fan, and he tried to introduce me to this era of the Beatles, and I said, this sounds like drug addict music, and I said, this sounds like music that you're supposed to listen to while you're high. And he's like, yes, it is. And I'm like, this is not something you should be teaching to a 10-year-old.
Yeah, no, yeah. Yeah, I haven't done enough drugs to enjoy that, whatever that was.
So now we're going to get into the album art.
Okay.
So in 1967, months after McCarthy supposedly died, the band released Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club.
Okay.
So go ahead and click, and that's the cover.
Okay, yes.
Now, on the album's very first song, Ringo ends the song by introducing Billy Shears. The supposed double, The Fall, was William Campbell, Billy Shears.
That was his full name?
Yeah.
So he had, like, a lot of names. That's weird.
He was William Campbell.
Yeah.
Like, first name and middle name.
Yeah.
Nickname Billy, last name Shears. Billy Shears.
Okay, so it's like...
And this would have been the first album that Fall would have replaced.
Oh, okay.
Introducing Billy Shears.
Oh, okay, that's kind of crazy, actually. Or maybe they're, like, playing into it. Like, they know the rumors and they're, like, playing into it. We're gonna make these people think what's going on. Ha!
Now, looking at the album art, which hopefully Paul can put in here, you can say the band's name is written out as Beatles, not the Beatles, implying it's no longer the Beatles, just some of them.
Or maybe the just didn't look good with how the album art was.
That could be. The name is also written out in flowers on a mound of plants which resembles a fresh grave.
It does look like a memorial, honestly, it really do.
The group stands center over the grave in their brightly colored costumes while wax figures of themselves in their original outfits look mournfully on.
Okay, yeah.
You see them?
Yeah.
Okay. Surrounding them are pictures of other famed people they admired, many of whom were already dead at this point, including Marilyn Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately behind Paul, or Fall, is late comedian Issy Bon, and has his hand over his head in a gesture resembling a priest's benediction or blessing over a dead person.
Oh, okay.
You know how the priest, when at the end of a funeral, has the book and he goes like this over the casket?
Yeah. I see it.
And that comes up several different times in pictures of Paul going forward.
Okay.
It's repeated by different people. Meanwhile, on the back cover, click, George, John, and Ringo all face the camera while Paul faces away with only his back shown.
Okay, guys, by the end of this, I might be a believer, because this is actually kind of crazy.
And in some versions, where all the lyrics to the songs are printed out, George, yes, I think that's George, is pointing at the line at 5 o'clock in the morning, which is the supposed time that Paul stormed out of the recording session and got into the car accident.
That's actually really crazy. You've got me gagged. I wasn't impressed at first, but now I'm gooped and gagged.
Oh, wait. We're getting into it, bitch. Okay. Eagle-eyed fans also spotted Paul wearing a patch on his costume reading OPD. Click.
Okay, OPD.
OPD is the acronym for Officially Pronounced Dead, the British equivalent of Dead on Arrival.
Okay. And there is a crown above it, for the British thing.
So McCartney later stated that it actually said OPP and was a patch from the Ontario Provincial Police that a fan had given him on a tour of Canada.
Okay.
And it is actually an OPP patch.
Okay, yeah. Because it kind of does look like a D, but it's his arms in such a way that you can't really see it, and it could be a P.
But it does look like OPD. And at a time before the internet, I could see how people would think that.
Right.
Now, in fall of that year, the band released The Magical Mystery Tour, which is more a soundtrack for a television film of the same name that they had just released. If you'd like to click to see the album art. On the cover, the band is again listed as Beatles, not the Beatles.
Honey, whoever made this was on... It looks like...
It's a psychedelic fever dream!
It looks like clip art threw up on this shit.
It looks like Lisa Frank, doesn't
I was literally just about to say that. A Lisa Frank wet dream. Okay. This looks like... What's that word? Word art. You know on Microsoft Word, word art?
I miss word art.
I don't. Because this looks bad. I'm sorry, sister. But...
This looks bad, but some word art was fun.
Yeah, no, they were on a lot of drugs, honey. A lot of something was going down here.
So, the band, this time, is not dressed in their whimsical Edwardian-era band costumes. They are instead dressed in whimsical animal costumes. Now, if you notice, the three in the back are dressed in white, and the one in the front is dressed as a black walrus.
And I wonder who that one was.
Not only is black the color of mourning and death in Western culture, but the walrus is a symbol of death in some Scandinavian cultures.
That's insane. And is that supposed to be Paul the walrus?
So Lennon claimed he was in the walrus costume, But if you look at the green lizard on the far right of the back three, he seems to be wearing Lennon's signature round glasses.
Okay, I do see that, yeah.
So why would somebody be wearing Lennon's glasses if they're not Lennon?
Probably because drugs. They were probably super high and they forgot they were just switching things up, you know?
During a scene in the film for the song Your Mother Should Know, go ahead and click, Lennon, Harrison, and Starr all wore red roses in their lapel, while McCartney wore a black one.
You know what? I'm starting a theory. Paul McCartney was just going through a goth phase, and he just wanted to wear black, okay? So leave him alone and let him go through a goth phase.
Somebody, came to him years later and said, if this isn't true, then why did you have a black rose? And he's like, I don't know. We had a bunch of red roses, and then we ran out, and they handed me a black rose.
Honestly, I don't believe that. I believe they probably had plenty of red roses. It's the freaking Beatles. They had the God's budget.
Right?
They had more money than...
I mean, John Lennon literally said shortly before this that the Beatles were more popular than Jesus. So,
right.
Which I'm not saying is true, but I'm also saying it's not true.
At the time, I imagine it was. Like, the girls and the dolls and the divas were dying for the Beatles.
Also, with Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Bands, you really can't see it, but I am going to bring it up. But they're all holding marching band instruments. John, George, and Ringo are all holding metal instruments, like flute, French horn, saxophone, and Paul was holding a black clarinet.
Honestly, I'm convinced. Bitch is dead, okay? And they are giving us signs. They're trying to let us know. I feel like the tinfoil hat is on, and I am there.
In November 1968, the band released their 9th album, The Beatles, commonly referred to as the White Album, if you want to click to that one. Oh, I missed the White Album. I'm sorry. But you're not missing much because it's called the White Album because it was markedly different from the psychedelic fever dream of Sgt. Pepper and Magical Mystery Tour. Because it was a plain white cover with only the band's name on it.
Maybe they stopped doing drugs. Or maybe just started doing coke.
Maybe.
Either one.
But many of the believers of the conspiracy state that this was a tribute to Paul and a message of there being a nothingness void with him gone.
That's crazy.
Like they're saying, at this point the band's really spiraling out. Now, one of the songs, Glass Onion, features a line where Lennon says, "The walrus was Paul."
Okay. Conspiracy confirmed.
The black walrus on the cover of Magical Mystery Tour was indeed Paul.
Okay.
On another, I'm So Tired, Lennon mutters something at the end of the song which sounds like, "Paul is dead man, miss him, miss him."
Girl, if this actually sounds like that, I'm gonna be gooped and gagged. Because the last song, I was gagged. Because that was unmistakable. I did hear the miss him part.
Yeah.
No, what did he say after that, supposedly?
Paul is dead, miss him, miss him.
I hear the miss him, but I don't hear the Paul is dead.
Yeah, neither do I.
But
I gotta include it because so many people bring it up.
But even though the miss him part is adding to the theory for me, even without the Paul is dead, the miss him part is adding to it for me.
This one, somebody else did the clips for me.
Okay.
The album also features the song Revolution 9, which begins with a sterile, automatic voice repeating the phrase, "number 9" over and over again. So I'm going to play that. Let me turn the volume all the way up here.
You better not get us copywritten, bitch.
Number 9, number 9, number 9.
That's creepy. I don't like that.
Now, fans found that if you played the record backwards, the phrase was actually masked and actually said, "Turn me on, dead man."
Neanderman, 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 Neanderman.
So they want like Paul to turn them on from the grave, like
Turn me on was like a 60s phrase for like, get high with me.
turn me on, dead man. So they want to get high with Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now, for years, the band had been backmasking, which is where you say something that can only be interpreted as the true message when played backwards.
Mm-hmm. People have been accused of doing that for forever, though.
Mm-hmm. It started with the Beatles.
Yeah.
So, what did you think about that? Nothing? It's not as bad as I Buried Paul.
Yeah, definitely no, I buried Paul, but I mean, like, it all, when you put it all together like that, it is convincing. There's a lot going on here, unless they're just, like, playing into it at that point, and they're just, like, playing into the fan theories, and we're like, we're gonna fuck with these guys.
Okay, are you ready for... This is the thing that really, really convinced me.
Okay.
In 1969, the band released its 11th studio album, Abbey Road. We're skipping their 10th, Yellow Submarine, as it's more soundtrack to the cartoon film of the same name, and there were no Paul clues.
Okay.
So if you want to click, you can see. Its now iconic album cover is, according to theorists, one of the hardest hitting pieces of evidence towards the truth of this conspiracy. It features the 4 band members striding across London's Abbey Road outside of their studio, but on closer inspection, it actually represents a funeral procession.
Okay.
John Lennon leads the procession in all white, much like a priest or preacher at a funeral.
Okay.
Following him is Ringo in a black suit representing the Undertaker or the mourners.
Okay, yes.
Behind Ringo is Fall, who is also in a dark suit, but of an older and out-of-fashion style.
Mm-hmm.
He is shoeless. In Europe, the deceased are buried without shoes, and he is out of step with the others. See how the first 2 and the last one are all stepping with the same foot, but Paul's the opposite?
Yeah, and Paul looks like he has a cigarette.
Paul does have a cigarette, but Paul was famously left-handed, but he holds the cigarette in his right hand.
Okay.
And at the end of the procession is George in all denim representing the gravedigger.
Okay, I'm not sure I see Gravedigger from that outfit. That's a little bit of a reach for me, but I mean,
it's like a take on it, like the whole working man coveralls kind of thing.
Okay, I could see that for sure, the working man.
It's an interpretation. It's not like full on we're doing a funeral, but like you can see it.
Yeah, I don't know how I'd feel about being in that much denim on such a famous cover. Yeah, that's his outfit. They did that bitch dirty. The other guys look cool, but that guy in that all denim, they did him dirty. He looks like, yeah, that's a bad outfit. That's too much denim, girl. Whoever said yes to that should have rethought that one.
In the background is a Volkswagen Beetle with a license plate reading LMWIF28, which is believed to stand for Linda McCartney Weeps, if 28, supposedly referencing McCartney's widow, Linda, and his age if he had lived.
That one I feel like is a little bit of a reach. I feel like you can make like words mean anything. Like if you put like random letters together, you could make it like mean a lot of different things.
Hand that to me real quick. I think okay, so the 9/11 thing.
9/11?
So the reason why I couldn't find it again. I heard it in a podcast and I wasn't going back for it. But there's another like visual symbol where it's the number 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why a lot of American people say maybe he died on September the 11th. But in England, and most of Europe, the way you do the date is day, month, year. So you'd write November 9th as 9/11/66.
Okay.
Whereas we would do 11/9. So that's why it's supposedly 9/11.
Okay, that makes sense.
But
okay.
It's more likely that it's November 9th.
Okay.
In April 1970, the Beatles broke up a little over a month before their 12th and final album, Let It Be, was released, when McCartney released his own solo album. The group would go on to pursue solo careers. In 1967, Lennon released a song where he said the theorists were freaks and was right when they said you was dead.
Okay. So he's saying they're right, though.
John Lennon would go on to be murdered by a crazed fan outside of his New York City home in 1980. George Harrison died of lung cancer in 2001. Ringo Starr remains active in music and released an album just this year.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
Well, shit. That's crazy. Good for them.
Paul McCartney, or if you believe this conspiracy, Billy Shears parading as Fall, also continues to write and release music and continues to tour.
Damn, he's still alive? You better comment on this shit, Fall. You better let us know what the real tea is, okay?
So, let me know your thoughts.
Honestly, I don't know. I'm pretty convinced. I could see it happening. I mean, do I think that the government cares that much about the Beatles? To, do all this shit to cover it up? No.
No, I'm not saying it was them. That's just, one of the main parts of the theory.
Yeah.
I'm trying to present all aspects of the theory.
I will say, it is a lot of money they might have missed out on if he was dead. So, I could see that aspect of it. But there are a lot of clues. When you put all the clues together, it does seem kind of convincing. And I am a Swiftie, so I'm used to being convinced by things like this and being clowned. So, I don't know. I could see it happening.
Okay.
Why? I'm gonna choose to believe it.
This is my favorite part of every conspiracy episode.
Where you're gonna tell me it's all bullshit.
So, is Paul McCartney actually dead and has been replaced by a replica who continues to make music in his name?
I guess you're gonna say no.
No. For years, Lennon admitted to purposely putting odd